This video follows the court case against Jeremy Porter, who faces charges of aggravated possession of methamphetamine along with several probation violations. Prosecutors explain that this marks his third violation since being granted judicial release in July 2021, and that he has repaid only $910 of the $17,935 stolen from an elderly victim, Miss Mulford, over the past 4 years.
This is State of Ohio versus Jeremy Porter. Mr. Porter is present with his attorney, Keeley Chambers. The state is represented by Teresa Hyatt. There's been a plea agreement reached in the 25CR43088 case. According to this, Mr. Porter plans to plead guilty to aggravated possession of methamphetamine, which is a felony 5 that carries up to 12 months in prison and a maximum fine of $2,500. So, have I stated that correctly, Ms. Hyatt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Chambers, is that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Porter, do you understand what you're doing? Yes, sir. Is your plea to aggravated possession of methamphetamine, a felony 5?
Guilty.
I accept your plea. I'll hold off on that until we address the probation violations. Anything from the state? First of all, does he admit or deny the violation?
He admits it, Your Honor.
Plea.
Your Honor, with respect to the 2020 case, the victim in this case, Ms. Mulford, is present again for the probation violation. I'm not sure if she wants to make a statement this time or... okay, she wants me to go first, I guess, and see how well I do. So,
We'll change the order. Okay.
we are a little bit. Your Honor, as you're well aware, with respect to the 2020 case, that is the one involving Ms. Mulford. The defendant was pled to and admitted to stealing $17,935 from her. He was ordered to repay that. He has a felony 3 theft in that case, as well as a felony 3 telecommunications fraud that you sentenced him to 18 plus 12 months respectively for a total of 30 months in prison. He was judicially released back in July of 2021. Since that time, this is the third probation violation since he was released from prison. My understanding is one of those violations was for the 22 case, which is a felony 5 meth case. Similar now to this case, this is the third one because of the felony 5 meth in this particular case. This defendant, since he was ordered to repay Ms. Mulford the $17,935, he has made a total amount of payments in those 4 years of $910, which I would submit to the court is just completely outrageous. This defendant absolutely had no intention of repaying this woman who is, and I apologize for me having to use this word in front
Over
of Debbie.
65.
She is elderly. She's over 65 and elderly under the definition by law. And it's just the fact that this is not money that she can just throw away. This is money that was very, near and dear and needed by her. I'm not sure what this defendant did with the $18,000, but apparently he had a good time with it because he has not been able to cough up any of it back to repay her. I would submit to the court that we've waited long enough for this defendant to decide whether or not he was ever going to deign us with any money for Ms. Mulford or not. I would ask in this particular case, based on the 20 and 22 cases, I would ask that he be sent back to prison to serve out the 30 months on the 2020 case, but that because since his judicial release, he's gained 2 more drug cases, I'm asking for a consecutive sentence on the 2022 case as well, because that was a whole new situation. And I'll hold off on the 25 case at this time. But I believe from what we've been able to figure out on that 2020 case, it looks like he has served about 21 of the 30 months. So he has approximately 9 months left to serve on the 30 months right now. And then he has very little jail. He has 24 days of jail time credit on the 2022 case. But I'll ask Ms. Mulford if she wants to make a statement.
It seems as though after he stole the money from me, that was the beginning of him just going down the rat hole, and he just can't get himself out of it. I'm outraged that the system, he's getting justice going to prison. I'm not getting any justice. I'm just frustrated and outraged. He needs to know that he has to pay me back. No matter how many years it takes, 30 years, he has to pay me back.
I just wanted to make sure you were finished before I said anything.
I'm not sure I'm finished, but go ahead.
Well, if that's all you have to say, I'm going to move on here. I understand your position. Expecting it's because he has issues with drugs, and he's never really been willing to make the commitment that it takes to get into recovery and stay there. It's a process that can happen. He can be drug-free if he follows basic rules of recovery. But we've tried to get him the treatment, but he doesn't seem to be making the commitment that he needs to make to succeed. And I wish there is a victims of crime fund, but I doubt this would have high priority. It has to be violent or what?
Yes, Your Honor, it has to be crimes of violence.
Okay. So the order stands. He's ordered to do this. He's ordered to repay you.
Where along the line his soul has shriveled up. He's a huge disappointment to me, a huge disappointment to his mother and all of his cousins and aunts. He has a lot of people he has to apologize to.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Chambers, anything on behalf of Mr. Porter?
Yes, Your Honor. I know that we're here on the PV as well as the 2025 case. The probation violation this time is largely due to the pending case that we knew was coming. The 2025 case is all the way back from 2024. According to my client, he's done everything you've asked of him since then, including attending drug treatment at Full Circle and doing that program, not spending time with his wife, and he's been doing relatively well since the last time that was before this court. He was picked up, in that process. He's been in our jail on these pending charges, but before he was picked up, he was doing relatively well. He has been accepted into the Merge Recovery Program, which is, this court knows, is a treatment program, but it is also a job training program. In order to pay the victim back, he is going to need not only recovery, but also to get into some type of job treatment program so he can adequately pay back the victim in this case. He knows he has a lot of days on the table. He's just unfortunately always associated himself with the wrong people and been in the wrong place, the wrong time. He understands now, I think more so than ever, the gravity of what he's done, he's participated in. He really does want to get into a Merge program, not only what they can offer him, but the future that they can offer him and help him pay back this large restitution amount in a quickly time. If he's sent to prison, Your Honor, it's just another year to 2 years that the victim doesn't obtain any of her restitution funds, which that big of a restitution is obviously going to take some time to pay back anyways. And he'd just really like to move on with this, but more importantly, he'd like to set himself up to actually be a productive member of society.
All right, thank you. Mr. Porter, is there anything you'd like to say?
Yes, Your Honor. Like my attorney said, last year you looked at me and you turned around and looked at my wife or whatever, and you said you knew what was going on in my life because I told you everything. And then you suggested I went to sober living, and that's what I did. And I took myself to sober living. I left here. They released me at 8 o'clock at night to go to out of the jail. So now with probation, no one's there. I called several times. My mother called my probation officer several times. No one ever responded. I still took myself to recovery. I went to Full Circle.
Who was your probation officer?
Officer Gatch. And every time I called, it go to a voicemail for O'Toole, for something O'Toole. Every time we called voicemail, and we called the main number and asked for Officer Gatch and to give me that voicemail.
Why didn't you come in?
I went to sober living.
Okay.
I went straight there. They came and got me. Like, they sent a car to pick me up, a van, and they picked me up at my mother's house, and they took me to Dayton. I did the assessment, and they took me to a sober living house in Middletown, which I was there. And then after so long, I guess my probation officer put a warrant out for me for non-compliance because I didn't see her first when I was released. And then Brandy at Full Circle Middletown, Brandy, my case manager, she had tried to contact probation several times. She said she even emailed the supervisor of probation or whatever for common police and everything to try to get them to release me so I could move. I couldn't get a job there. I couldn't do anything. I was compliant. I did everything. I was doing very, very well for myself. And there was nothing I could do. And then fast forward to this, I go to my mom's, I'm having dinner, and they come and arrest me on a warrant. And I've had a warrant over a year, and I didn't even know it. Other than the non-compliance, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know that I thought if I just kept doing the right thing, maybe by the grace of God, you know what I mean? For once, it'd just work out in my favor, but it didn't. And I applied for so many jobs, even after that. And I was wondering, I'm like, why won't nobody hire me? Nobody hire me. I call them back, and they say, well, we just went with somebody else, you know what I mean? There's a better candidate, but because no one's going to tell you, well, you got to work for your arrest, so we're not going to hire you, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it was just a downhill spiral. Then I got a job under the table. Now, that's probably not the best thing to tell you, but it's true. And I was doing good for a minute. And then my boss had got injured at work, and that's why I was at my mom's having dinner with her when I got arrested. But I did comply with what you said since last year, and this charge is from last year. My wife had stolen something from Speedway without me knowing. She made it clear in Lebanon court that I did not know. She was on drugs way worse than I was. And not that it's any worse, but regardless, I wanted her to stop doing drugs as bad as I wanted to stop doing drugs at that time, and she just could not stop. So that's why I ended up leaving her after that. And yeah, and that's when they found the drugs. It was in a Vera Bradley, her purse, and I just said it was mine. She's never been charged with a felony. I'm already a felon. I thought I was doing the right thing, taking the rap for her. I figured if we're married and it does work out, maybe, one of us could buy a house one day. Yeah, that's it. And as far as Miss Mulford goes, I'm very sorry. I still haven't paid you back much. I know it's more than $900, so I have receipts, so we'll figure that out. But I know it's not nowhere near what it should be. And that's mainly because, when I got out of prison, I went to CCC. You sent me to CCC. I completed that. When I got out, I was a Genesis. I've been in recovery. I've been in rehabs and recovery, fighting this horrible drug habit that I got, which caused all this to even happen. So,
You're saying
I want to go back to sober living. I want to live my life. I want to be able to move forward. I want to be able to work.
You're saying you have made the commitment.
Yes, and I'll continue to do so.
How long have you been sober?
Over a year, since I left this court last year.
Okay, so let's look at it from the probation perspective. You entered the Genesis program December 6, 2022.
Yes.
And you completed it successfully.
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm not asking questions
sorry.
now. Just let me go over this.
Sir.
On January 12, you were positive for cocaine, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
You were giving a reprimand for this. On July 9, 2024, you were arrested by the Lebanon police for theft M1 on 7/5/24. You refused to submit to a drug screen. On July 9, 2024, you submitted a positive drug screen for methamphetamine and amphetamine. You admitted to the use of both. Failed to make regular payments toward restitution in the 20 case. On July 25, 2024, you were ordered to enter into and successfully complete outpatient substance use treatment, including any follow-up and medications as ordered and or prescribed, to complete sober living and to make restitution payments. You failed to enter sober living facility as ordered at your final probation violation hearing on 7/25/24, and you again hadn't made any restitution payments. Now, is any of that incorrect?
Yes, I did. You said I failed to enter sober living, which I did not fail to enter sober living. All those charges are from last year when I got arrested with my wife. I've seen you. The last judge I seen was you. You sent me there. Now, I was in sober living when I had no idea about an appointment. I was already in sober living. And like my attorney just said, like, if they sent a notice. Also, when I had gotten out of jail, my mom was in the middle of moving. So I don't know what address they sent it to. My mom moved to Morrow, Ohio, out of Lebanon, while I was in jail. Or actually, I helped her move. Sorry, I was helping her move from when I got out of jail.
Did you notify
until
probation
I went
of
to sober living? Yeah, we called him several times. Me and my mother both left several messages, and then I went to sober living.
Okay.
And when you're at sober living, full circle, all I say is just stay sober. That's all I want you to worry about. She told me about we've tried to sign me up for food stamps like 2-3 months into it, and she's like, "Well, we called up there and they said I was a fugitive." So we're like, "What do we do now?" And
Turn yourself in.
well, told me to stay put and
Who did?
Brandy at full circle. Because she didn't want to mess with my sobriety, right? So that's what they do there. And she's like, let me take care of it, see if I can take care of it. And she was emailing you guys or whatever, emailing probation, emailing the supervisors, all that.
Well, one thing you probably should have learned a long time ago is if you call and your probation officer is not taking your calls, you better get up here.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
See, unfortunately, it's too late. Same thing with if you know there's a warrant for your arrest, I don't care if it's the owner of sober living. The right thing to do is to turn yourself in. You've always been treated fairly here, and if that were the case, that we probably would have worked with you, but you didn't, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm revoking his judicial release and returning him to prison. 22 case, he's done 55 days, right?
I believe it's 24 days, Your Honor.
I'll order 6 months on that case. And on the sentencing for today, 9 months to run concurrent with the previous 2. So how much does he have left on the prison case?
About 9 months.
9 months. So he's basically got 9 months left to serve. Okay. Anything else from the state?
I'm assuming no costs or anything on the 2025 case.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No, nothing
Ms.
more, Your Honor.
Chambers?
No, Your Honor.
All right. That's all.
Ms. Mulford addresses the court, expressing her anger and heartbreak over the financial and emotional damage caused by the theft, and insists that she deserves full repayment. Porter's attorney asks the court for leniency, pointing to his participation in drug treatment and his acceptance into a job training program that could help him begin paying restitution, arguing that jail time would only slow that process. Porter speaks on his own behalf, claiming misunderstandings with his probation officer and stating he did not know there was an active warrant for his arrest. He also admits that he took responsibility for a drug charge to protect his wife. After reviewing Porter's repeated violations, failed drug tests, and lack of meaningful restitution payments, the judge revokes his judicial release and orders him to serve the remaining 9 months of his original sentence, along with additional concurrent time for the new charges.